to do this shit.
Thank you, and welcome to Unsolicited Opinions Podcast, where we will bring you real, raw, and relevant content. I am one of your hosts, Ebony, and across from me we have
Ryan J.
Philly. All right, so we're so happy to be here, especially with all the extreme things that are going on in the world right now.
Absolutely.
So we're just so happy to be able to bring you guys more content.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we did want to talk about with COVID-19 is I was reading an article and it said there has been a spike of domestic violence cases everywhere in the U.S., worldwide, because people are stuck home with their abusers or more alcohol drinking.
Definitely.
So domestic violence is something that we wanted to talk about today. We wanted to make it a little more serious.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just excited to go ahead and get into it. All right. So we tend to know what an abusive relationship is, but is there really a definition for what an abusive relationship really is, though?
I don't know if it's a specific, because there's so many layers to an abusive relationship.
It is.
And just how many lanes you want to go.
It
But
is.
I feel like if we just want to put it all in one bubble, I think it's has to do with harming somebody or
Intentionally.
or even unintentionally, but
Yeah.
it'll make sense later on. But
Yeah.
I do know it does a lot of harm, so that's the main thing.
So we have done a little bit of research because we want to make sure we bring facts. So it looks like there are multiple different types of abuse. I think sometimes when we talk about abuse, we always think of physical abuse, hitting, slapping, shoving, grabbing, pinching, biting, whatever the case may be. We think of physical abuse, but there are different types of abuse that sometimes go overlooked. Sexual abuse. That's
Definitely.
another most common one, which is coercing or attempting to coerce any sexual act or behavior without consent. This is done through marital. Also, just attacks on you that you just don't want. Some people who force you to like have sex with them after they've been mean to you or abuse you.
Yeah.
That's also emotional abuse.
Yeah.
That's one that I think that can get the deepest between that and psychological abuse, because you're demeaning somebody's self-worth or self-esteem, and you're also possibly causing fear and intimidation if it's psychological abuse.
Right.
And then the last one we want to talk about is economic abuse. It is defined as making or attempting to make an individual financially dependent by maintaining total control over finances, resources, withholding one access to money, or forbidding one's attendance at school or employment. I was actually really shocked when I saw the economic abuse, because you don't really think about that. You don't think that people really just want you to depend on them and not do anything for yourself. So that one was very shocking for me. The other ones I have heard about before. What about you?
I mean, all of those are pretty much the same thing I was thinking. The economic one surprised me the most. To get even deeper, it's just like, I mean, we can talk about child abuse.
Yeah.
Man, for me, the biggest thing is just like not knowing. Like, you can grow up in a situation and you just not even be aware that you've been abused all your life, and that's your normality.
It's normal to you.
Yeah.
That's very normal to you, and especially if you're a child growing up in that may grow up to be something you've learned. That may be a learned behavior. And I know we were having this conversation where I was telling you how, especially if you're a child being abused and it's all you know, you don't believe that there's anything else different.
Right.
So how I gave the analogy of, when I didn't know that I needed glasses, I would see this billboard all the time when my dad would pick me up. And I could never read the billboard. It was blurry as like hell. So I would just look. And so one day my dad kind of saw me squinting. He was like, read that billboard. What does that say? And I'm like, I don't know. And he was like, so this whole time you couldn't read that billboard? And I'm like, no, I thought everybody saw that way. That I didn't think to ask or bring it up to you, because in my mind, my perception was everybody saw the same way I saw.
Right.
So a lot of times kids don't say anything and they don't grow out of it because they don't know that it's wrong.
Yeah.
So now my question is, have you ever been in an abusive relationship? I know for men, you guys don't often get physical abuse,
Yeah.
but you told me the most common is
Probably verbal abuse.
and emotional.
Emotional, yeah.
Yeah. So have you been in any abusive relationships?
Not in a like woman to man, like that type of relationship. No woman has ever. And these are the words that I feel like is verbal abuse. Like you ain't shit,
Yeah.
and
Oh, absolutely.
like you ain't good enough,
You ain't never
or
gonna amount to nothing.
you ain't gonna never amount to shit.
Yeah.
I think those are, to me, those are the first things that come to mind. But I've never been talked to that way. I'm pretty sure women have said things, but again, back then it was so normal because the environment I grew up in, I didn't look past like, oh, she's being verbally abusive.
Yeah.
To me, I take it as talking shit.
Talking shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's how our culture
Yeah.
is sometimes, talking shit.
And that's crazy because you start it's so normal to you that it doesn't seem toxic in any way.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, this is how it is.
Right.
So
And then you see like your homeboys, and again, if you're growing up, you see everybody else kind of doing it. So again, that's your normality. But because I haven't been in that situation, I have seen women hit on men.
yeah.
I've seen, like you say things, or they'll do things to manipulate the guy. I think that's a form of abuse too, manipulation.
Women, we are really big on manipulation, and I can attest to that because I've seen it.
Right.
You know, whether it's with, you know, friends, family, whatever, I've definitely seen it. And especially if it's something to get us our way, we tend to manipulate the situation.
Yeah. So, what about you?
I have. Mine was in high school. I just told my mom last year, a couple of our other cousins last year as well. But throughout high school, I was in a very verbally, physically abusive relationship, and it changed who I was forever. It changed who I was. I was very closed off for a long time, and I just didn't see people the way I did before that relationship. So, yeah, I have.
At the time, did you see it? Did you realize it was abuse, or it was?
Oh my gosh, yes and no. Yes, I realized it was abusive, but at the same time, I just wanted him to be happy.
Yeah.
So I just would be like, what do I got to do? Like, what we got to do? Like, I don't want you mad at me. I don't want you yelling at me. I don't want you putting your hands on me. You know, what is it that I have to do to get you to be happy? So at that point, it became almost like I just wanted to please him because I didn't want to be that person making him angry.
Right.
But what I had to learn was this was a learned behavior. He watched his father abuse his mother. So a lot of it was hard for me to grasp years later because at that time I wasn't trying to understand that. I think the last time we really got into it and I basically fought back and I was able to leave after that was where I was like, I'm done.
Right.
I'm done. But you know that you're in it, but until you're ready to be out of it,
you don't know the depth of it.
It's not gonna happen. And then, you know, people always ask, what can other people do when you're in an abusive relationship? Really nothing, but support you. And what I mean by support you is just let you know that somebody is there for you. Because again, we're not gonna leave until we're ready to leave. You can do anything that you want to keep somebody away from somebody, but if they're not ready to be done, it's not gonna happen.
What makes people stay?
I think just it depends. Now that I'm like really looking at these different types of abuse, I think it really just depends on the situation. Emotional abuse, I think if you're emotionally abused, you think that because I'm not being physically abused, it's not that bad.
Right.
You know, it's people out here who got it worse than me. That's actually being physically assaulted. Physical abuse, it's almost like we believed, or I believe, I'm not going to say we, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I believe that him doing that was his way of showing that he loved me. And
that's deep.
And I'm in high school, you know, I can't talk. I don't tell my parents and stuff. My mom has no clue. She has not the slightest idea.
Yeah.
And people always say, how can a parent not know? If it's something that you don't want somebody to find out,
they're not gonna find
they're
out.
not gonna find out.
Yeah.
Economic abuse, I don't really know. I don't know how somebody stays in that one because Well, no, that one's
Yeah,
easy. Yeah, that one easy to stay in, cause you're being supported. If they're supporting you, yeah, that's easy to stay in.
And I think they set it up. Eventually, they slowly set it up to where if you leave, you're gonna need some money. But you
Yeah.
know you can't get the money unless you get it through me. And if we got all these joint accounts, you kind of need. It's a lot. I feel like that you need to do to step on your. It's almost like you have to start over to step on your own.
Yeah. And when you think about that, that's stressful. That's
Right.
almost depressing for you to know that you got to start over without somebody. Okay, yeah, no, that one's definitely understood. Psychological abuse, causing intimidation, threatening physical harm to self. Listen, I've been with somebody, and I feel like a lot of women have, where a man to be like, if you don't talk to me, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah.
If you don't get back with me, I'm gonna kill myself. And I ain't gonna lie, I got to the point, I'm like, do what you gotta do. Because if it's at the expense of me, bro, do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is definitely a form of psychological abuse.
Ooh, that's tough. Because you know that if you really love this person, you can be without them, but you don't want to feel that guilt.
No.
That if they kill themselves, that it was your fault, but it's not your fault,
and
though.
they know, and they play off of that. That's the thing. When it's psychological abuse, they play off that, because if they know how you are as a person, if they know you have a good heart, I am such an empath. I am so empathetic. I can cry from somebody telling me a story. So if I have somebody that I love or I feel like I love, and they're threatening harming themselves, like that's almost one of those things that they know can get me.
For sure.
So back then, yeah, that was tough. That was tough, because I'm pretty sure that was something that he's used before. How would you react to someone if they ever told you that a family member was abusing them?
Is this my family or this is my friend? Oh, we're gonna go with both.
We can go with both. If your homeboy's girlfriend, just so happen to tell you, or a cousin, their significant other, or even let's say your homeboy.
I got a good one.
Go ahead.
So say my boy, this is my best friend, and his girlfriend, they get into it, but I don't know this, because abusers are good at hiding stuff, very good at hiding stuff. And she come to me and she like, hey, like, I'm not gonna lie, your best friend been beating me up and I need some help. That would be, again, it would be one of them situations I would have to be in. But what I would do is I would probably say you need to tell your parents first.
Yeah.
You need to either call a hotline, or if I know that I can get through to my best friend, because you can kind of know, I would have both of them sit down and I would say, I love you, but you need to stop. And if you put your hands on her, then we gonna fight.
Yeah.
I don't care how many times we gotta fight, but we gonna fight.
What would you do if you ever saw your friend assault someone else in front of you?
Well, I guess it don't matter if it's a woman.
It don't matter.
I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna stop it, and we gon'. One thing about me is I'm not scared. I'm not one of those friends who I take sides. Yeah. If you right, you right. You wrong, you wrong. That's how I was taught. So if you wrong, I'm gonna tell you wrong, and I'm gonna sit there and cuss you out, bro. What the fuck is you doing? You really just gonna put your hands on her like that, for real?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna hold you accountable, and I will expect you to do the same thing to me if I ever did that.
Yeah, and it's hard because we always put the woman as the person that's being assaulted, but I have seen situations where the man is not going to fight back and the woman is the aggressor. And being a woman, and I'm not going to lie, my situation changed me a little bit because I lost power. I didn't have any power in that relationship. So when I got with other men, I never wanted anybody to ever have that power over me again. So I can say that I have been physically abusive in the past, and that's something that I've changed, as well as emotionally, because when you lose that power, it's something that you always want to gain. So I don't ever want it to be that we just feel like women are always the ones that are assaulted, because men are definitely assaulted as well, physically abused, physically, emotionally, psychologically.
I thought about that situation plenty of times. Like, what would happen if a woman put her hands on me? And my first thing would to be just leave. I would try my best to leave. If I can't leave, I'm gonna at least restrain you. I'm not gonna hit you. I'm not gonna choke you. I'm not gonna slam you. I'm gonna try my best to restrain you. But I think women need to understand that that it's not okay for anybody to put their hands on anyone, because I know women feel like they can hit you, and as soon as we hit you back, that's grounds for call the police or the brothers, and then y'all kind of twisting the story like he hit me, but you
aggressed me.
You provoked this man time after time, and then y'all grab knives, and we can only do so much.
Right.
Like if we trying to walk away, you got a gun at me, like it's only so much I can do, and emotionally, you don't know what triggers. If I've been through that before, what trigger is that gonna put me in a space that I don't want to be in?
Do you think that to stop that, more men should call the police? Because it is very known that men don't call the police.
I mean, just you got to figure out what you can do before it's too late. Because one thing about people when they're emotional, and I think women tend to get emotional faster. I mean, I'm not even gonna say that, it's men too. I'm not even gonna just say women. I just think that you need to fix it before it gets too far.
Yeah.
Fast. Like if she's getting mad and she grabs a knife, you don't need to sit here and try to debate like put the knife down. No, just leave. The minute she has a knife in her hand, just leave. Because it just you don't want to get emotional and just get too far with it.
Because I feel like abuse progresses.
Absolutely.
It starts as something little, very little. It may start, emotional. It may start psychological and then become physical.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we identify the sign?
Well, we have 10 signs here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so these are 10 signs that you are being abused.
Or an abusive relationship.
One is intensity. So when someone expresses very extreme feelings and over-the-top behavior, that's overwhelming.
Yeah. It's like they're going 0 to 100.
Yeah, like it's too erratic. It's not even a build-up.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Possessiveness. That's a red flag that I noticed real quick. When someone is jealous to a point where they try to control who you spend time with and what you do.
And I can say sometimes as women, we find that cute.
Right.
In our mind, we're like, oh my God, he crazy. Like we always say we want a dude that's crazy about me.
Why?
Because that's a way of showing love. Like in our mind, that's somehow, somewhere in our life, either we lacked that or we had a lot of that.
Right.
And so we tend to yearn that in our relationships. So we want somebody who is like, I want to spend time with you. Yeah. I remember I had an ex who popped up on me at college. I was about to go out, and he knew I was about to go out, and he popped up on me like, we about to spend time now. And I'm like, bro, I was about to go out, but I didn't realize that was a sign of possessiveness. Like, bro, you didn't want me to go nowhere, so you came over here because you know I was gonna spend time with you.
Manipulation, when someone tries to control your decisions, actions, or emotions. That's probably, I'm not gonna say the hardest one, but that one isn't hard to catch.
Yeah. Because
manipulators are very good at what they do, and they know how to mold their manipulation for you.
Mm-hmm. So because they know your sweet spot.
So they know how to get to you. Like, I don't want you going out. Like you can be a nice manipulator. Like, I don't want you going out. Like, please, I want you to spend time with me. And then if you don't do it, then it gets aggressive. So I think manipulation is a very heavy one.
Yeah. Isolation, when someone keeps you away from friends, family, and other people. I've seen that in a couple of friends. Yeah. And with those type of situations, I just send a text here and there. Just, you good? Yeah. And they text me back, I'm good. And that's just where you got to leave it at.
The isolation, the thing that people don't know about isolation is they do it slowly. They're not going to take you
completely. That R. Kelly.
Yeah, they're going to let one by one, like, okay, well, you can't text after this time of night. And while you're talking to them, they trying to do this, and this. And no, this person not good for you. Like, cut them off. Yeah. Like, it happens so slow that you don't even recognize it. Because then this person, again, is manipulating to make you think that they're not good for you. And I have your best interests. So
I'm here for you. Right. Yeah, and it's crazy because when we watched the R. Kelly thing, that was the first thing that most of his, that's the first thing that most of them said was he would pull you away from your family. He would make it seem as though they're not the ones that are supporting you or helping you, and then you're gone. Yeah. Sabotage.
Go ahead.
When someone purposely ruins your reputation, achievements, or success. I don't think I've ever really seen that. I guess when women get mad, they want to do stuff. I know that the girl from Jamie Foxx show, Fancy. Yeah. I read something like a while back how sent an email of him cheating to everybody.
Oh yeah. Ooh, okay. I got that.
That
is, yeah.
That, I mean, even though she's scorned at that point, that's still
Abusive,
form of
very
abuse.
abusive. I think friends do that too. Like when the friends get into it and then they start beefing, they want
to tell everybody your business.
Yeah, because you can be an abusive. See, the relationship isn't just man to woman. It can be friends. It can be family. It can be anything. So if
it's
you
not
have
always domestic,
right? So if they fall out, I've seen a lot of women fall out, and now they just airing each other business out, and it's like, what makes you that mad to where you can't even just go your separate way and call it a day? Like you're that mad to where now I'm putting your business out on the internet and I'm putting your business out, and you didn't had this many and this.
When you make someone, when someone makes you feel responsible for their actions or makes you feel like it's your job to keep them happy. Dang, I guess
that's the one you just said.
Yeah.
When you feel like you just at that point you just wanted to make him happy.
I feel guilty. I feel like I'm the one that is upsetting you all the time.
Yeah.
So I just want to make you happy.
We got belittling, making when someone does and say things to make you feel bad about yourself. That one, I hear that a lot when people accomplish something and they make it seem like it's not that. Like, say you just got a promotion at work and I'm an abusive, jealous boyfriend or even a friend, and it's just like, I mean, that's cool, but that's nothing though.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they can never be happy for you.
Right, that's nothing.
You don't do nothing around here.
Yeah.
You're not going amount to shit. Every time I come home, you sit on the couch. Like, what are you good for?
Right. Or you could be a good friend and you just like, but why you do it like that? Like, why you talk to him but he ain't this and that.
He's not good for you. Why
right.
you? I mean, you deserve better. But it's not necessarily them saying it in a good way. It's them just putting you down for whatever decision you make. Volatility. When someone has a really strong, unpredictable reaction that makes you feel scared, confused, or intimidated.
Those be the one on the Tyler Perry movies.
Yes. Yeah. And then I've had it where a man can raise his voice and I just kind of look. If I just pause, I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yo, what's that? Oh, what's that Tyler Perry movie on Netflix?
Oh my God, the one that just came out, the one with the ashtray.
When the guy stole the woman's identity and
he
was so cool, and then one day he just snapped. Like, it wasn't no build up. It was just he had another chick in the room. Like, he just flipped out. That's what I think of when someone has a strong reaction. Like that, to me, that's a big red flag. If you just mad out of nowhere and you just burst open with feelings and emotions, that's scary to me. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Because one, you confused. Like, you're like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Yeah.
What just happened? Deflecting responsibility is number 9. When someone repeatedly makes excuses for their unhealthy behavior. This is what I'm used to. I was raised like this. This is all I saw.
Yeah. Or when y'all are about to leave us, we'll be like, I'm sorry, I won't do it again, but I need help. I need therapy. I
was just about to say therapy. Yeah. Dudes love saying, I'm gonna talk to somebody. I'm gonna go talk to somebody. I know I need some help. Just stick with me. Just stay with me. Be by my side.
Right.
Oh my gosh. And then
betrayal.
Number 10, betrayal.
That's like the last line of
betrayal. When someone is disloyal or acts in an intentionally dishonest way. I see betrayal a lot in friends though.
Yeah, for sure.
In friends. I feel like family can be betrayal too.
Yeah.
Because they know the most about you.
Yeah, they know your vulnerable spot.
Yeah, they know the most about you, so they know what is gonna take you there.
Out of all of these, I think betrayal will hurt me the most. If I'm that close to you, because there's a lot of things I can not look past, but there's a lot of things that I feel like I can maneuver. But betrayal is just a different. Because to me, it's almost like you use almost everything, or you use a lot of this to get to betrayal.
Yeah.
And that probably just hurt me the most, betrayal.
I think manipulation hurts me the most because I'm such a caring and like sweet, loving person.
Yeah.
That you would use that against me to hurt me.
Yeah.
That part is what's hard for me to really understand.
Manipulation for me is a trigger.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about why, but
yeah, I understand.
Manipulation for me is a real trigger. Like when someone tries to anybody, I automatically snap. Not in an aggressive way, but I get defensive, and now like all of my antennas are up, and I'm like, so what you mean by that?
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna just start like looking at you different.
One of mine is when somebody really insults my intelligence.
Yeah.
When you're trying to put something past me as that it's okay when we know it's not, and you expect me to be okay with it.
Yeah.
That's a form of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're abusing the fact that I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
You're abusing the fact that I respect you.
Yeah.
And you're making me see something different.
Right.
So a lot of times, if a man is, cheating, they use that tactic, and I feel like that's a trigger for me. Mm-hmm. Is don't manipulate me or make me feel like what I know to be true is false.
So, for example, if someone cheated on you, mm-hmm. and you have all the evidence in the world, like if you the police, they going to jail.
Yeah.
And they sitting there like, I didn't do that.
Yes.
They see the picture with the girl, they kissing.
And that infuriates me.
Yeah.
Infuriates me. It's your call.
Right.
Just tell the truth. And it don't even have to be something as as deep as cheating. Mm-hmm. Somebody can lose their job and not tell you. And you're like, bro, you ain't been like, what's up? You ain't been to work. What's been going on? You've been having a lot of free time. And they just making it seem as though life is just going on as normal, getting up, going to work, all this stuff.
That's weird to me that, say a friend will lie about losing a job. I could see, say someone cheated. They're trying to lie to get out of trouble.
Yeah.
A friend who lost a job, you're not going to get in trouble with me. So why would you lie? That's what confuses me. It's like, what makes you want to lie to me?
I mean, you got people that's just habitual liars anyway. Like they have nothing else to do. They just lie.
Yeah.
And being in a relationship with somebody that's just a liar is abusive too, because you can't trust nothing that they're saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, one thing that I feel we don't really talk about is, and I don't have kids, so this isn't a topic I can really get deep on because I don't really know. Mm-hmm. But is whooping your children a form of abuse?
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's hard to say yes because I got whooped a lot with the belt. And I think it's abusive when it's planned. When you tell a child when you get home you're getting your ass beat, mm-hmm. you have this child so messed up. I remember being in middle school and this boy did not go home for 2 days. He was almost like, they basically reported him missing because he got in trouble at school and he was so afraid to go home because his mama said when he get home he was getting a whooping. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that messes up a child. Mm-hmm. And when they get home they're afraid, or they grow up to be afraid of you or intimidated by you. You got some people who say, it helps. Yeah. But at the same time, they do grow that fear of you. Yeah, it's so hard to say because it was so normal culturally, I can say, mm-hmm. and it's so normal that it's really hard to say if it's abusive. I honestly feel like it is, whether you agree or not, because it's more so the reason behind the whooping.
Yeah.
So say, for example, I'm a kid, I go to school, and my dad isn't around as much, and my mom works a lot.
Is the sole provider.
And I'm misbehaving in school because I'm craving for that attention from my parents that I need.
Yes.
So instead of you whooping me, like instead of you saying like, why you acting bad? I'm gonna whoop you when you get home. You haven't sat down and talked to me. And kids don't know how to communicate that well. So I think you should try to figure out like really pay attention and teach your kids how to communicate so that when they're in that situation, because we're scared to communicate because if we say the wrong answer, we know we're gonna get a whooping.
Trouble. Yeah. Because if you say the truth, I know I'm getting in trouble. But that what you just said requires something more of the parents. You have to remember a lot of parents haven't had it where they were able to talk to their parents.
Right.
All they got was ass whooping.
Yeah.
All they got was the physical, altercations where you're not doing right in school, you getting a whooping when you come home.
Yeah.
So it kind of starts with them. And you got to understand too, some parents feel I don't have to talk to a child. Yeah. When a parent has that mentality, I'm grown. I don't have to sit here and talk to a child. You're my child. I don't have to sit here and listen to this. And then they wonder why.
I'm going to go deep right here. That's a little bit of a slavery mentality.
It is, but it's all learned behaviors. Until somebody takes the time to change that, it's going to keep happening. If You know, the one thing I can say, my mom didn't whip me.
Yeah.
I think I got one whipping, and we both kind of looked at each other like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
what is happening? And as I got older, it made it easier to be honest with my mom. If something was going on with me, it was easy for me to say, Mom, like, at school, I'm not understanding this. And, you know, I just got a D and I don't really know. And instead of her being upset at me, she's like, okay, well, do you need a tutor?
Right.
What is it that we need to do to make sure you get what you need? And I feel like that can change everything. But it's a learned behavior. Everybody's used to just getting whoopings. I think that if you smack a child's hand in the middle of them doing something, okay. But when it's pre-planned, or like you said the other day, go grab a switch.
Yeah.
Go grab something. Go get something for.
Getting
go
hit
get
with
the belt.
Extension cords and switches. That's too much, man. That's a lot. I've seen that plenty of times. That's too much.
Go get the belt.
That's too much.
Like now I want to come back.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And that causes us not. And parents wonder why. Once we get older, they say, "Well, why didn't you talk to me for all these years?" It's been hard to talk to you because I've been trained to. I'm scared. Like, I don't want to say nothing because I think I'm gonna get in trouble. Instead of me being open and at least having some type of friendship, like a parent friendship, to where I'm comfortable with you. I'm comfortable coming to you about anything, but I don't, because if I do, I'm gonna get a whooping, or I'm gonna get in trouble or punishment. So I'm about to hide it.
I think too, one of the things that we have to remember is, as I'm gonna say women, because this is a little more common with women, is we have to watch the men that we bring our kids around, as well as, even if it's our significant other, even if it is that child's father, we have to make sure that our kids are okay. Because it's too many women out here who have experienced physical abuse, or too many kids out here who have experienced physical abuse, sexual abuse, at the expense of their fathers, at the expense of their mother's boyfriends, or just somebody else in their lives. Uncles, family. So we have to be able to start talking and opening up to people and letting them know. I'm gonna say for my family, we have always been open. My aunties, my cousins, we have always been open to, if anything is to happen to you physically, sexually, we need to talk. So my whole life, if something like that happened, I was saying something, especially if it was family. Now, when it came to my relationship, I wasn't ready to lose my relationship. So I wasn't going to tell my mother that, because I know that if I tell her, she's going to tell me to stop.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I guess it wasn't something I wanted to stop, because I could tell you, if it was a family member or something like that, I'm snitching. I'm snitching.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things. And I wish that men would be a little more open to talking to someone if they have been abused, because when you're starting to date them, they'll just always say, I've been through some stuff. Or it's a lot that's happened to me. I've been through something. And so you spend a lot of your time trying to knock down those walls to get to the bottom of what's going on with them. So I think that a lot of men should go seek some type of help so that we can know how to go forward with you.
Yeah, I think a lot of men, it's more so an ego and an embarrassment thing. Like, say a man has got molested. Psychologically, you feel like you got your manhood taken away once you become older. And it's embarrassing to tell a woman, because you don't know how she's going to react to it.
But let me say this.
Yeah.
When you're younger and you've been molested by a woman, a lot of men see that as a good thing. They don't see it as negative until it's possibly another male.
Yeah.
So when it's a woman, you kind of live with that as almost like a accomplishment.
It's a badge on your jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a man, like if it's a male, you know, you grow up thinking like, what happened? And you don't ever want to talk about it. So yeah, like you said.
Yeah, we gotta go to therapy. We gotta express it, and we just can't be afraid. If someone can't handle it, that's just not the person you need to be talking to, and you gotta be okay with that. But we need to let that out, because that trickles into trust issues. That trickles into, like, you have a trigger for women now. Like, you have a trigger for older women.
Yeah.
You have like you want to be in control because you never want to feel like you're not in control anymore.
Exactly.
So it's a lot that you got to deal with, that you need to let out.
Exactly. And that can just change your whole perception on what you like. because you might start to think that all you like is older women
Because of that.
because of that.
Yeah,
That's all that you're attracted to.
definitely.
Because that's what was attracted to you.
Do you feel like, well, no, I'm not even gonna say, do you feel like abusers turn into abusers?
Absolutely. Hurt people hurt people.
For sure. Because they think it's normalized. So people who have been molested or have been sexually abused, they think it's normal as a child. So they turn into the abusers.
Yeah.
And I think that even though, just understand where I'm coming from. I'm not saying that someone who abused you or molested you or raped you should get a pass, but try to understand where that came from.
Because it might have come from somewhere else.
Right.
They may have experienced that. And in that moment, we're not thinking like that, though.
Right. We just know that we got hurt and I'm mad at this person and I hate this person.
Yeah.
But this same person could have been the person who was you one day.
At some point.
And as a child, they've been molested all their life and they just didn't know that this wasn't normal.
And they needed help.
Right, they needed help.
And I'm going to go back to me because I was that person. Mm-hmm. When you lose control and you lack control, you're fighting to gain that control back at some point.
Right.
And when I did leave that relationship, I can truly say that my next couple relationships, I made it a point that you're not going to overpower me ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things I had to go to counseling for because that's not healthy. Yeah. That's not normal. That's not good.
Right.
And obviously these are grown ass men. I can't be putting my hands on grown ass men. Mm-hmm. I can't be sitting up here doing demeaning things to these grown men. Mm-hmm. My little self, my little actions, I have the power to change how somebody thinks of themselves, mm-hmm. how somebody looks at themselves every day. And I had to understand that I held that power. Mm-hmm. And without me knowing that, I would have just kept going.
Right.
I would have just kept going. So it is important to identify and know that if I'm coming to you this way, it's something else underlying. But everybody can't identify it themselves that something else is going on. And when that happens, that's when it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And you lose that control.
I agree with you. Do you feel like mental health issues
play a role
in abusive relationships?
Yeah. The different personality disorders. The one we always hear about so much is narcissism. But there's so many other disorders out there. But I think that narcissism is the one that most people associate with it.
It's crazy. So statistics online, it's a lot. Mm-hmm. So we can't say if it's fact or not, but this statistic I got offline says 1 in 5 of us lives with a mental illness that we're just not aware of.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people who have a mental illness that you just aren't aware of. And I know a lot of people who are in situations to where they have a mental illness, but they aren't aware because that's their family structure. Like that's their normality, but their whole family is built around mental illness, and that toxicity is how they was raised. So they know nothing else. Their friends are like that. They relationships have been like that. That's what they go after because they think that's normal. So I think that definitely plays a role along with
some personality disorders require triggers.
Definitely. Round of applause for that one.
Okay.
Round of applause for that one. Round of applause for that
one. Yeah. Some of them require triggers, and you don't know until something happens and you basically snap that you have that disorder.
How do you deal with somebody with a personality or a mental illness? Like, how do you deal with that?
You have to be a very strong person if you decide to stay and deal with that. Because once you make that decision to stay and deal with that, that is now your decision. And you cannot say anything to them about that condition.
So so say it's not a relationship and you because you can pick and choose if you want to be in and out of a relationship. Yeah. But what if it's your mother or what if it's your child? How do you deal with that?
Because you're always going to feel like you have to.
Exactly.
You have to do that. You have to help. But I know some people who give up.
Yeah.
I know a couple of people whose parents have, disorders and they can't deal with it. They can't deal with it, especially if you grew up with that same disorder. I want to say that especially those who have parents that suffer from bipolar disorder. As a kid, you don't understand it. You just see the switch in the moods and things like that. And you feel like that's their way of showing that they love you. So once you get older, when you start to separate, like, damn, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
You either learn how to adapt to it, to use it so that it doesn't affect you anymore, and you're like, oh, this is just my mom, or this is just my dad, or this is just my brother or sister. But I think you feel more inclined to help and stay when it is somebody that close to you.
For sure. 1,000%. So some of these personality disorders, the first one is antisocial personality disorder.
Yeah.
And some of the personalities behind this is a disregard for others' needs or feelings, persistent lying, stealing, using aliases, reoccurring problems with the law, aggressive, violent behavior, impulsive behavior, consistent, irresponsible, and lack of remorse for behavior. So as we read these personalities, I want you all to kind of take notes and save them, because you may have friends like this, and you may have family members like this, or it may be you and you're just not aware, because that's your normality.
Now, don't go diagnosing people just to be diagnosing them like, girl, you antisocial or you narcissistic. Like,
but just take notes though. Just take note, but don't be a psychiatrist. We got
borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
And this is impulsive and risky behavior, such as having unsafe sex, gambling, or binge eating, unstable or fragile self-image, unstable and intense relationships, up and down moods, often as a reaction to interpersonal stress, suicidal behavior or threats of self-injury, intense fear of being alone or abandoned, ongoing feelings of emptiness, frequent intense displays of anger, stress-related paranoia that comes and goes. And I think
that's it.
Yeah.
So far, do you know anyone, or do you feel like anyone comes to mind when you read these off?
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
I mean, I feel like in some of these, I can see myself. I'm gonna be frank. I'm gonna be quite honest. I can definitely see some things where I want to say, I'm not gonna say lack of remorse for behavior, but I have in the past been that person that I would do something, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. You don't care about the results that come through.
I don't care.
Yeah. What made you feel like that though?
Because I didn't care. Like, I don't know. I'm different now, but at that time, if I did something, it's because I wanted to do it.
Right.
And I didn't care how somebody else felt. I didn't care what anything else was. So I feel like there's certain things in here that you can see, and you're like, am I?
I said the same thing when I was writing these down.
Yeah.
I was like, that's me, but that's not me.
But
that's definitely me.
Yeah. And I do this, like I said, frequent displays of anger. That was past. That was pre therapy. And I've had times where I felt ongoing feelings of emptiness, and that was because I was constantly longing for something. I was constantly longing to be loved. So I feel like you can see yourself in a lot of these.
Yeah.
And then histrionic personality disorder.
Constantly seeking attention, excessively emotional, dramatic, or sexually proactive to gain attention, speaks dramatically with strong opinions but few facts or details to back them up, easily influenced by others, shallow, rapidly changing emotions, excessive concern with physical appearance, think relationships with others are closer than they really are. That's a little.
Yeah.
That's one of them Tyler Perry ones.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The thinks relationships are closer than they really are. That's that person that says they know somebody that don't know them.
Yeah. Well, this is my best friend. It's like, girl, I just met you yesterday.
Just met you. Yeah.
I just met you. What you talking about?
Narcissistic person.
The most famous one.
Infamous. Narcissistic personality disorder, belief that you're special and more important than others, fantasizes about power, success, and attractiveness, failure to recognize others' feelings and needs, exaggeration of achievements or talents, expectation of constant praise and admiration, arrogance, unreasonable expectations of favors and advantages, often take advantage of others, envy of others, or beliefs that others envy you.
I know a lot of narcissists. I know a lot of them. A lot.
Do you think this is most people that are successful?
Yeah.
I can see that.
I think that in this world you don't have to be a narcissist, but if you are a narcissist, you have a better chance of being successful because you don't care about morals.
You don't care about
Because
what
this
other people
world isn't
think.
built on morals. It's built upon I'm gonna get what I want and by any means.
And I don't care what
And
nobody
you
else.
have a certain mentality, and I think you have a better chance of making it in this world if you're a
With that.
narcissist. Yeah,
Yeah, I believe that.
for sure.
And then
Dependent personality, excessive dependence on others, and feeling the need to be taken care of, submissive or clingy behavior towards others, fear of having to provide self care or fend for yourself if left alone, lack of self confidence, requiring excessive advice and reassurance from others to make even small decisions, difficulty starting or doing projects on your own due to lack of self confidence, difficulty disagreeing with others, fearing disapproval, tolerance of poor or abusive treatment, even when other options are available, urgent need to start a new relationship when a close one has ended. I know somebody real close that's like this.
Yeah.
I know somebody really close is like this, and they have no idea it's like this. But I can't help them because they've been like this all their life. So you're gonna talk about this afterwards too. But yeah, that reminds me of somebody real close to me.
One thing that has really bothered me with this whole COVID-19 thing is people are really stuck in abusive situations right now. Like, we make jokes how we can't go outside and we can't do anything, but there are women or men or kids who are stuck in the house with their abusers and they have nowhere to go. They have nothing to do. And people who love them and know that they're going through these things may not be able to get in contact with them, see them, make sure they're okay. So that is something, again, I'm an empath. So that's something that's been really heavy on my heart and on my mind because I don't know how do we help or support people who are in situations such as those.
I know it's hard to do, but for those out there, there's a National Domestic Abuse Hotline. It is 1-800-799-SAFE. I mean, if you want to call anonymous or you are embarrassed and you don't want your friends to know, I guess that's an option to use.
Yeah.
Other than calling the police.
Exactly. They are still open 24 hours, 7 days a week. Anyone who is affected and needing support, if you're unable to speak, because you may not be able to call, if you're unable to speak safely, you can log into thehotline.org. Also, if you don't have the ability to get online, to log on, they do have you a way for you to text, and then they say text love is LOVEIS to 22522, and that is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And I really want people to use it.
Definitely, man. The only abuse that I've had was being around toxic family members, for sure.
Yeah.
Certain people in my family that's how they was raised, and they didn't know any better. So we can't expect them to teach us any better. But once I got older and I became more aware of certain things, that it's very dangerous. And I think about them, but it's just I can't be around that. I gotta protect my peace and my energy, and I hope things are well with them. But it's a lot going on, and I can't be a part of until they realize for themselves. Yeah, because it's like you say, it's only so much you can do. You have to realize it for yourself first, and then want to fix it. But you can be so old, and that's in you.
Yeah,
that's just who you are.
Yeah,
and it's a heavy situation.
Absolutely. And what we need to realize and what our parents have to realize is those moments where y'all were arguing or y'all were fighting, we remember.
Yeah. Vividly.
I think they tend to believe that it just goes away. So when you get older and you can recant a specific time, they're like, damn, how do you remember that? Stuff are triggers and traumatic.
Yeah. Even I know you haven't seen this, but I've seen the Gabriel Fernandez case.
Yeah, I couldn't watch that.
When
I couldn't watch that.
That made me so angry. That made me so angry. So the mother abused the child, but she also manipulated the guy, her boyfriend, to abuse the child too. But again, back to what you were saying is that he was willing to do anything to make her happy, and she would even lie about what he said just so that she was in control to abuse the child. But she was abused all her life. So mentally she was already messed up. She never seek therapy or anything. So that turned into her own demon that she had to deal with. And she brought that demon inside the boyfriend. And then they both together just abused this little boy.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Children have more strength than adults, in my opinion, because they're not as aware. Like, they kind of just, children are so pure. This boy went to school and he still was like, he wasn't evil. Like, he wasn't an evil kid. He still was.
He was killed.
He was killed.
Oh my.
But he went to school and he still like wrote stuff like, I love my mom after.
Because that's in their mind. And when you are abused, you believe that that is a form of love. You believe that that's love, and that's not love. It's not love at all.
Yeah.
And that is so sad to me that this little boy lost his life because he was in a situation where ultimately he felt like somebody genuinely loved him.
Yeah.
And people lose their lives every day due to domestic violence. It's not a form of love. It's a form of control.
Mm-hmm.
It's a form of power. And
there's what messed me up at the end was they showed that there's a million other cases like this all over. We just don't know about it. Nobody knew about Gabriel Fernandez until the Netflix series came out, or those who's in that area. There's kids every day who get. I don't even want to go deep into it, but there's kids every day who. Nah, I am gonna go deep because I want people to hear it.
This is what we do.
The boy got locked in a cabinet. Like, he's locked in the cabinet. They made him eat cat litter.
Bro, what?
Like, the mom shot him in the face with a BB gun. He going to school with black eyes, missing teeth, shaved head, all type of stuff. So this happens so often that we don't realize it. So if you're a friend and everybody failed him, his teachers failed him, the system failed him, all they was concerned about was keeping a job and making money. So many people failed this little boy. And if you are a friend and you know somebody who's in an abusive situation, yeah, you can support them, but try to do your best to do something. Like, I don't care if you got to call the police and they don't care about you as a friend at all. Like, do something about it, because it's going to end bad for somebody.
I've really been trying to find my friend from elementary school. I hope he's okay. I hope he's alive. I just remember it was winter, bro, and this boy had no coat. Mm-hmm. He didn't have no coat. And I remember going home to my mom and I'm like, we have to get him a coat. We have to get him a coat. She bought him a coat. He would come over every morning for breakfast before school, because I just felt, even as a child, I felt that wasn't right. I knew that wasn't right. Mm-hmm. And I hope I can find him again. I just want to talk to him and just see where he's at with life, because I know ultimately. And he ended up getting kicked out of school because he brought a gun to school.
But and then I think that this is not your job, but if you're somebody who's a caring person, I know he brought a gun to school, but ask him why he brought a gun to school, because you don't know what was through his mind, that he could have been getting beat up every day at home from friends. He could have been getting jumped on the way to school. Like, you don't know why he bought a gun. Instead of dismissing a kid for being bad, try to understand why they are doing the things that they do. Because kids don't do stuff just because. Kids aren't that smart enough to just be bad just because. There's a reason why they're being bad, as we label them. And then when you tell a kid you're bad, that's all they're going to believe. No, you just going through some stuff and you need some help.
Talk to somebody.
And we don't know how to communicate, so that's our way of saying, hey, we need help.
And I think parents don't want to get their kids counseling because in their mind that reflects negatively on them. For that they did something wrong. Yeah. So why would I have you go talk to somebody and tell them all the stuff that I've done wrong? Right. When that's necessary. Kids going to counseling is necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even if you have a good kid, still have him go to counseling, because you still want him to express himself. Like, you still want to learn how your child expresses themselves to learn them better. I think therapy is good, even good or bad. Going to therapy with your child or going to therapy as a family or whatever the case may be is a good idea, period. Even if y'all not going through nothing, still go.
Yeah, still go. Because you never know what may come up or what they're afraid to just talk to you about. Yeah. This is a great conversation. I'm glad we talked about it.
Round of applause for that.
Okay. And I thought I was going to have a hard time.
You did good. You did good. You did real good.
Struggle. But yeah, if I have any friends, if there are any people out there who are dealing with this, who have gone through this, it's not normal. And I'm not going to sit up here and pretend that it is normal. It's not healthy. It's not safe. Again, we can't make you leave if you're not ready to leave, but it is important. People die every day from domestic violence. People die every day from abuse. People commit suicide every day because of things that they've been through that they cannot talk about, they're afraid to talk about, or they're afraid of leaving specific situations. It's not okay.
Yeah, younger and younger, even kids being bullied, like that's a form of abuse in school. So just
and when kids are bullies,
boy, that's one thing I do not like a bully. That's a trigger for me too.
A kid being a bully though is somewhere they're trying to get that power.
Right.
So sometimes that's deeper.
Right. They could have been abused too, and they want to try to figure out
how to gain power. They don't have it at home, so they want to get it somewhere else.
I think so. My advice would be that try to go seek therapy, try to talk to someone. If y'all have my Instagram or Facebook, if y'all are in an abusive relationship, y'all can contact me. We can have a conversation. Again, y'all gonna have to do the work to leave, but I can do my best to give y'all encouraging words. I can give you the numbers to call, but at the end of the day, you have to want it for yourself. But I am here for an open ear or whatever y'all may need. That's within my power to do.
Absolutely, I agree.
So
I agree. And the one thing that I'm going to say is, if you're a friend or you know somebody in this situation, it can get stressful. It can get so stressful dealing with them calling you, letting you know about the situation and them not leaving.
Yeah.
But please, please, please do not give up on them.
Definitely.
It is very easy to get to the point that you're like, okay, I'm tired of hearing this. You're not changing the situation. I'm done. Maybe you don't have to talk to them and tell them to leave right now, but always letting them know that when you're ready to go, let me know and I'm here for you.
Right.
Because again, they're not going to leave until they're ready.
Be that safety net that when they're ready to leave, they can call you and say, hey, I need you to come get me. Yeah, today is the day. Today is the day I need you to come get me. And you're there and not a second late, because they can something back happen.
And don't expect that they may not backslide.
Yeah.
You may have them in a good space for months. They may come to you, you may help them get their life together. They may be in a good space for months, years.
Yeah.
And it may be that one moment, just like an addiction, they go back. So I just don't want people to just automatically give up, because people lose their lives every day over this. And it is just something that I want us to help with if we can.
Right.
Me and Ryan are here if anybody needs any help.
Our lines are open.
Yeah.
So anybody out there, we send y'all positive energy. We send y'all prayers. We send y'all peace. We send y'all faith.
Yeah.
All the positive things y'all need.
And definitely for this, an abundance of love.
Yeah, for sure. I know some people gonna feel this when they hear it, but y'all are loved and y'all are thought of and y'all are cared about. We just aren't aware of who's going through what, because I know it's a tough situation to talk about.
So that's all I got.
That's all I got. I thank y'all for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in.
I know this is a heavy topic, but it's something that needs to be talked about. And we just thank y'all so much for keep supporting us. We're going to keep talking about important topics that matter. And yeah, we really appreciate the love.